The most important thing for a baby or toddler is their primary caregiver, and their brains develop optimally when they have caring and consistently responsive caregivers who are emotionally available to them. When babies and toddlers experience difficult events like losing a caregiver, or their caregivers are not available to them physically or emotionally, or their caregivers respond inconsistently, not at all, or in anger, infants can experience high levels of stress. And if this continues over time, their development can be impacted in several ways. First, their amygdala, which is the fear center of the brain, can become overactive. The amygdala is there to protect us by having short periods of fight, flight, or freeze. And if a baby or toddler has many periods of high stress, their amygdala can be activated over and over again. And when this happens, the wiring to the amygdala can become very strong. And with that, the amygdala may become the go-to center of the brain, so that when the baby has new interactions or they experience new things, their first response is one of fear. Next, their hippocampus, which is the learning and memory center of the brain, can be damaged. This can impact their ability to learn and remember. For babies and toddlers who experience ongoing stressful situations, their hippocampus is often smaller than the hippocampus of babies who don't experience lots of stressful situations. A smaller hippocampus usually results in slower and less effective learning, placing a child at risk of getting behind in school later on. Another area that's impacted by ongoing stress for a baby or toddler is the prefrontal cortex of the brain, and that's responsible for all of our higher level cognitive functions. A baby's prefrontal cortex is just at the beginning point of development toward the end of the first year of life, and it will develop longer than basically any other structure in the brain. The prefrontal cortex won't be fully developed until the baby is somewhere around 25 or so years old. One of the jobs of the prefrontal cortex is to help support the amygdala, especially in terms of helping the baby or toddler to feel safe. And in this way, the prefrontal cortex can help calm the amygdala. But when babies and toddlers experience chronic stress, the prefrontal cortex is less effective at calming the amygdala, and the baby or toddler might feel unsafe in a perfectly safe situation. Like the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex is usually smaller in babies and toddlers who experience ongoing stressful situations. And that's not surprising, of course, because babies are more preoccupied with ensuring their safety and survival, and are not able to give as much energy to just thriving. All of these impacts will likely influence a little one's cognitive development, with a high likelihood of cognitive impairment, including problems focusing, paying attention. They'll have a higher likelihood of learning disabilities, low self-esteem, usually fewer social skills, and more problems sleeping. They're more likely to have speech delays as well. And when they get to school age, they're more likely to have problems with reading and school readiness in general. Without intervention, they're more likely to have mental health issues in adolescence and early adulthood as a result of the trauma that they've experienced.